Hey, what's up? Peace and blessings. I am Jovhannah, the spiritual love coach, also known as Spiritual Love Tarot. And I just got my Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. So I was really excited to get these and to open them. So I thought, why not do it live on YouTube? So this is actually my first YouTube live. So let's see how this goes. I just did a couple of videos, one on my Facebook page and one in the Spiritual Love Circle, which is my private Facebook group for the ladies, where we talk about love, life, and how to get the best of both. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of the work that I do is really geared towards helping people embrace love in a variety of different ways. Oh, look at the beautiful blue on the inside. Blue is actually one of my favorite colors, so I thought that was really pretty. So I have over 115 tarot decks now. Well, tarot and oracle card decks. I love collecting decks because, hey, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me live. Tarot was a really big part of my own personal journey of like healing and growth. And so once I learned to read tarot, I don't know, I just started collecting decks on top of decks. The beautiful thing about each deck is each one has its own like energy and its own purpose as far as myself. Like I have a deck that I will use if, if I'm asking a question related to goals, if I have something that's more so related to like the divine feminine, I have a deck specifically for that. One of the best ones to start with, most people recommend the Rider-Waite tarot. So I would say to start, this is the Radiant Rider-Waite, which is kind of like a more updated version of the traditional Rider-Waite. That's a really great deck to start with. I think other people recommend the Gilded Tarot. I don't have that deck, but I've heard some people start with that. Then once you have like a good understanding of the meaning of the deck, you can start to look into more like abstract decks that are out there. So one of the things, oh, these are so gorgeous, that I always look at is like the size of the deck, and these are a pretty big size compared to whoops, I'm almost dropping them. Compared to the Radiant deck, they're a little bigger. Oh, the artwork on them is really beautiful. So instead of the full card, this one starts with the choice card. So why I bought this deck was I wanted something specifically to do shadow work, and I was doing a tarot challenge that was based on like shadow work, and so I was like, oh, well, this will be a great reason to buy a new deck. And I've had my eye on this one, and from the description I thought that it would be a really great deck to do shadow work. So this is the booklet that comes with it, Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And this deck was created by Raven Felon. Yes, Raven Felon, published by Blue Angel Publishing. Really gorgeous book. I like the matte finish. So it says Dreams of Gaia Tarot is for those who desire unity within themselves, their relationships, and with heaven and earth. It's for those who wish to explore and develop a keener understanding of self, as well as those who seek to commune with the spirit realms and the divine. The philosophy of the cards is simple: to seek, to feel, to grow, and to heal. And I know most people for shadow work have darker decks. Those don't really resonate with me. I like, I don't know, but I just wanted a specific deck. So one of the things that I do with my decks is I set, for the main decks that I have, I set an intention. Like I have one that is intentionally for soulmate twin flame communication. I have one that is specifically for ancestral communication. And I'm probably doing the most with that. I'm not sure if other people do that or not, but it works for me. Okay, so this is interesting. So I'm looking at some of the major arcana, and oh my gosh, I am going to love this deck. Oh, okay. So one of the first things I noticed is that the deck is not, the cards are not listed like the traditional Rider-Waite. So the first card is Choice, which I think is just fascinating. And you can see, you know, the light, the dark, there's different doors they can go through. There's fire, there's water, there's earth, there's a sword. So you have all, and the pentacle. So all of the suits for the cards are in there. Yeah, this deck is, oh my gosh. I probably won't just use it for shadow work because I really love it. Then the next card, instead of the Magician, is the Child. And what I love about this, because I have a 3-year-old named Savvy, and what I'm noticing with her is that she is a master manifester. So in the, let me pull this other deck, but this deck isn't in order. Do I have one that's in order? Probably not. So I'm trying to find the Magician is, here he is. Thanks for showing up so quickly. So the Magician, this would be the card in the standard Rider-Waite, and then in this one it's the Child. And with my 3-year-old, I notice how easily and effortlessly she's able to manifest things that she wants. And the people around a child normally will give a child whatever they need, and they create that environment that allows the child to, I love this deck. I love it. Oh my goodness. So then the next card is the Maiden instead of, oh my gosh, not the Empress. Why can I not think? Instead of the High Priestess. There we go. Hold on, so I want to put these back in order. I'm not going to go through all of the cards in the deck, but I'm just fascinated. And so then we have the Youth instead of the Emperor. And then the Empress is the Mother. And there's a beautiful tortoise there with her, which in Native American culture, turtles represent Earth, and they do represent Mother. And there was something about like the markings on a turtle shell that was very sacred as well. This is a very beautiful deck. I think I called one of the cards wrong. That's the Empress. This is the, yeah, the Emperor. Oh, that's interesting. So instead of the Lovers, we have the Crone. Sage, Knowledge, Healing. These are really beautiful cards. And then there's Love. So this deck is phenomenal in so many different ways. I like how intuition comes later in the deck. In the traditional deck, we usually think of intuition when we get to the High Priestess card. But I kind of like the progression of this deck, like the different people that you encounter or that you become along your journey in life. And okay, yeah, so this one has a lot of majors. Oh, this card is beautiful. I absolutely adore the artwork on this card. This is the Desire card. So beautiful. I see so many different symbols in this card. Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. Is this a standard? I was trying to see if this was a standard deck with 78 cards, but I'm not 100% sure. Perception. 10 of Earth. So the minor arcana. There's Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. This is really interesting how they do their court cards. So they use the symbol for each element. The suits are Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. Oh, look at those beautiful sacred symbols. This deck is awesome. I love this deck. I cannot wait to use this deck. I need to cleanse it. I haven't done anything like that yet. So I wanted to share, like, so one of the things that I do when I open a deck, I don't know why, but I do like to smell the deck. And I'll go through and just kind of like I'm doing now is look at all of the cards in the deck and just get a feel for the suit, the energy of each of the cards, which ones I like, which one I don't. Oh, this is awesome. This is the 5 of Fire, which would be the 5 of Wands in a traditional deck, which is about conflict and disharmony. And I really like how this card displays that. There's a lot of orange and reds in the fire suit, which of course makes sense because it's fire. Yeah, I can't wait to like study this card more. I mean, this deck more to really understand. So for the court cards, here's what I found. So in the suit of fire, there is the masculine feminine card, which is number 11. And then there's the hero card. The artwork is so beautiful. Then there is the Queen of Fire and the King of Fire. I love how vibrant the colors are. And so for the water, suit of water, there's emotion and intellect. Then there's the counselor. Then there is the queen. And then there is the king of water. So I guess each court card is made up of the energy that that element represents, and then it goes into the traditional, the king and queen. So there's no pages or knights. So for the air, there is body mind, and instead of a counselor, they have a scribe, because air's related to like communication. And then there is the queen of air and the king. And I really love like the communication. So there are sacred symbols coming out of his mouth, out of the hawk's mouth, and going back into his ears. Like just I love this deck. Oh my goodness. Okay. And I guess, yeah, we'll look at Earth too, because I didn't do Earth. Oh, I likey. So for Earth, instead of the page, there's heaven and earth. And then there's the sensicle. And then we have the queen. And we have the king. Beautiful cards. These are so beautiful. I cannot wait to explore these more. So I want to look in the deck to see if there's, or excuse me, in the book to see if there's anything else. I want to put these back in somewhat of an order because I've got them kind of all mixed up. So I want to go back through them a little more detailed. These are beautiful cards. Like, I am so happy with this purchase. So happy with it. Let's see. And then one of the things that I do after, so I'll cleanse the deck, and how I cleanse it, I'll probably use Palo Santo and let the smoke kind of go over each of the cards. And then I also set the intention and connect with the energy of the cards. And how I do that is by, hold on, let me get these back in order. Where's, okay, so these go here. There was this one. Okay, hopefully they're in order. They don't have to be, I just prefer them to be. And I'll kind of meditate with them a little bit after I cleanse them, and just kind of hold them over my heart and just infuse them with my energy and pick up their energy, and then set whatever intention I have for the deck. Because this is such a phenomenal deck, I need to find a bag to put them in, but generally, as you can see, like on my shelf back here, I keep all of my decks in their box unless it's one that is gonna be with me a lot. I have a couple that I'll just keep in like a drawstring bag, but I prefer them in their box because it keeps them safe, because I transport my decks a lot, and so keeping them in their box works for me. Yeah, and I also do clear the box of any energy also. Sometimes I'll use sound, but today I will just use Palo Santo, and then I will set some crystals on it. For this deck, I'm probably going to use Merlinite, definitely Labradorite, rose quartz, and then a clear quartz on the deck, just to kind of add a little more cleansing to the deck and so forth. So I think I put random chatter in here too, because as I look through this book, I'm just going to be talking about stuff. These cards are beautiful, and I love the guidebook because it's really in-depth. I really don't feel like there are any other decks that I want except for the Dust to Onyx Tarot, and maybe one other oracle deck, which was the Barbieri Zodiac that someone mentioned was like a really great oracle deck to have. So I might pick that up. So I'll share how I started using tarot, and I've mentioned before, like on other videos maybe, but for me it was really about healing and finding myself again, reconnecting with my spirit. So when I read my cards, and I think because that's how I connected with the cards, that's how the messages translate for other people. So like if somebody comes to me for a love or relationship reading or something like that, if they're not ready, the cards will say that. They'll be like, oh, well, you need to, you know, focus on this area. And I had one reading where this person was like trying to get some clarity around her relationship with someone, but the cards kept pointing back to her, like saying, you know, is your heart open? Are you ready for this? And things like that. And so it took me a while, because I'm like, why am I not getting a clear answer? And then it kind of clicked, like how I read the cards is kind of like how answers show up for me as I'm reading, even for other people. So coming to that place where, you know, and I'm not a predictive tarot reader. I don't wish to tell fortunes. For me, that doesn't resonate with me. in my style of reading. And I think that's because how I started using the cards. It's for me, it's a tool of divination for personal and spiritual growth and all of that. So yes, we can definitely do like love and relationship readings. But I find that it's more centered, focused on making sure that you are ready for love versus where is he coming from, who is he going to be or she's going to be. And I really like that aspect of it being more of a tool for spiritual guidance and to help people with, you know, evolving in life. So that's one of the ways that I use the cards. I love doing all different types of readings because it helps me really sharpen my skills, and I don't know, I just like doing it. So in here, I'm looking at one of the cards in the book, which is the Three of Water, and water relates to emotion. Let me see if I can find it for you so you can see the beautiful artwork that is on there. There's the Queen. Okay, so there's the Three of Water. Very beautiful artwork on these. I'm so pleased. I had no idea what this deck was going to be like. A lot of times I don't research decks. I just go with what kind of calls towards me. And so what I like is that the reversals in the guidebook are automatically kind of viewed as blockages. Reading reversals can be tricky because there's a lot of different ways to read them, and I do like seeing it as like a blockage or something that's kind of directed internally. So that really resonates with me. Okay. Overall, I really love this deck. Let me just go ahead and clear it now so I can do a little reading. Hold on one second. This will be fun. I'm just lighting my Apollo here so I can clear the energy on this deck. I kind of like doing YouTube live. This has been pretty cool. I usually just do like pre-recorded videos, but those actually take a long time to load, so maybe I will start doing more of these live videos because that's less work for me. I don't like editing anyway. So there's my Apollo. It's all lit, and I'm just gonna set the intention that I clear this deck of any energy, and I'm kind of gonna spread the cards out a little bit. It's kind of hard to do because I'm not at my desk, but just making sure each card is being cleansed by, God, I love the smell of Apollo. It smells so good. And then I'll do the box as well, since that's going to be where I keep this beautiful deck stored. One of the projects that I wanted to work on was creating carrying bags or like a storage system. I might do that at some point when I have a little more free time. Okay, and let me put this somewhere safely so I don't cause... There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna sit with the cards really quick just to really connect with their energy. All right. And then I'm going to shuffle, 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 shuffle to get them all nice and mixed up. And I don't actually reverse cards unless I feel like I really need to, like, or either I find that when they need to reverse, they really they really will on their own. So I had some really great tarot teachers that you know, everybody reads or doesn't read reversals. It's really up to you as the reader whether or not you choose to read reversals. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I have some decks that have reversals in them just because that is literally how, I don't know, they just got reversed, and so I read them that way. And then there are other times where I might pick the deck up and I might be holding it in a reverse position, so they kind of just reverse on their own. And I'll read them that way because I feel like everything happens for a reason. Or if I'm not sure, then I interpret it like these two just fell. So I have no idea if they are reversed or not. And as I shuffle, I just am just setting the intention that I'm, you know, really connecting with this deck and that we're going to have a great relationship together. And then I do like a deck interview spread, which kind of helps me get to know the deck, what the energy of the deck is like, and how we will work together. So there's a bunch of deck interview spreads that can be found online. Now, one thing I like is that these cards shuffle really easy. Sometimes it's hard to shuffle cards because either the size or the card stock is too thick. Hi, Mar. But these have a really good flexibility. They're not too flimsy, but they're also not so hard that it makes shuffling hard for me. So that works out very well. I'm probably going to be playing with these all night. Just getting to know them and seeing how well they work for shadow work, which I think because of how the major arcana is set up, I think they're going to do exactly what I was hoping they would do. So that's pretty awesome. The only thing, because their major arcana is a bit different, I will kind of have to study these a little bit to really learn the major arcana. So this card came up for us in reverse, and it's the abundance card. And so it says here that a blockage to abundance could be lacking gratitude, not being appreciative for the things that you have in your life now, and that you really want to practice being grateful. That is a cornerstone to abundance. And one of the great ways to get more things in your life is to be grateful for the things that you have now. And so one of the things I do, especially on Thursdays, we talk about gratitude inside of my Facebook group. So let's see what else. Let's see. Practice being grateful. Look around at your life and see and appreciate what you already have and be grateful for it. And one of the things I do every day is like I make like a gratitude list of like 3 to 7 things that I'm grateful for. If someone offers you a gift, don't measure their care for you by the money spent on the gift. Just be grateful. And another way that we can be grateful too, a lot of times someone will give us a compliment, and like someone's like, oh, I like your hair, and you're like, oh no, I messed it up. Or, you know, if someone's like, oh, I like your outfit, and you're just like, you don't take it, right? So we kind of like push compliments away sometimes. So when someone compliments you, accept it and be, you know, be grateful that someone is complimenting you. So that came up for me as well. This is a really beautiful card. I love the dragons on the cards. There's some sort of connection to me with dragons. So anytime I see dragons, it always makes me really, really happy. And it's also a reminder too to be grateful for the little things, the things that we might overlook, like having power, having clean water to drink, having a car to drive, having shoes to wear, the people in our life, having a job, having money, whether it's just 5 cents or whether it's $5,000. Being grateful for the smallest of things can make the biggest of differences. So I wanted to know if anybody had any questions. If not, I'm going to hop off and play with my deck a little bit more. And again, this was the Beautiful Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I'm so glad that I bought this deck. I had my eye on it for a while. And let's see. Okay. So the deck structure, I didn't talk about that. And I might have missed question. Oh wait, can I see questions this way? Nope. Let's see. Okay, yep, so I've seen it. Why do people use crystals with the cards? Well, for me, because crystals can cleanse your cards. So when I store my decks, ones that I have out, I'll sit a clear quartz on top of it so that it kind of keeps the energy clear. And also when I do readings, I have different crystals. So I have like a black tourmaline for protection during the reading. I have a rose quartz to bring love into the reading. What else do I have? I have a celestite to like connect with the angelic realm during my readings. What other crystals? I have a Mount Shasta crystal to bring an element of healing, because love and healing are two very important things to me. So crystals can be used to enhance a reading. It can also be used as the reader to really help you connect with your own intuition and set up protection as well. So I do have a set of crystals that I use during my readings, and I also include the 4 elements. Crystals represent earth, and I have water, I'll have incense going, and candles. So then I'll have earth, air, fire, and water. I didn't see that before, so sorry. So, okay, I should have read this. This is all about the deck. I love this deck. Oh my gosh. So they have 25 cards in the major arcana. In a typical deck, there's 22. And then 56 minor arcana that has the elements in it. And we talked about that a little bit. That's interesting. So the way they have their major arcana, they break it up into 4 groups. There's the choice, stages of life, reasons for being, and influences. So that's where some of the stages of life were some of the like the child card and the mother, the father, all of those different stages of life that we actually go through. I'm gonna love this deck. And then the reason for being is like how we experience life. So some of those cards were love, healing, wisdom, abundance. And we just saw the beautiful abundance card that reminded us to be grateful and in a state of gratitude. And then influences, like our thoughts, emotions, desires, so on and so forth. Ooh, and then there are some spreads in there. There's the guide, the union spread, the dreamers. I cannot wait to do readings with this deck. And the dreaming tree spread. I'm super excited. So this might be like my go-to deck for a while. I am one that switch up my decks a lot. I have one which is the African American Tarot that's dedicated to like ancestral readings. So anytime I want like a message from my ancestors, I use that deck in particular. Yeah, and then I have my handy dandy go-to, which is the Radiant Rider-Waite, which is based off of like the traditional deck with the traditional images. I don't use this one as much, but if I'm ever like studying tarot, then I usually use this deck. And I love animal decks. I'm very impartial. I love working with animal decks. One of which is the Animal Totem Tarot, which functions as an oracle and as a deck, and it's completely based on animals. I really like working with this deck too. Let me see if there's any other questions, and if not, then I am gonna go ahead and sign off. Where can you buy crystals? You may have a metaphysical store in your area. If not, Amazon, Etsy, Shaka Zulu Crystal is one online retailer that sells crystals. I'm trying to think of another one. There's a lot of places. Just do a quick Google search and you'll be able to find a place. I prefer to go in person to select my crystals, but you can buy them online. If I buy like, I buy crystal quartz in bulk. So for that, then I would purchase it online. But for most of my individual crystals, I do buy those in person, but that's just my preference. Wherever you are, I would just look up on Google like metaphysical shop, metaphysical store, something like that, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a crystal retailer near you. All right, I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. I might do more of these because this was, I lost my earring. This was a lot of fun. And I like having, being able to hang out and chat. Plus, hopefully I don't have to upload anything, so the video will just be there and I don't have to do the whole upload time situation. But all right, and I'm probably gonna come back and do a reading with these cards. I love them, so I'm gonna go. You're welcome, Shantavia. So I'm gonna go play around with these a little bit more, and hopefully I'll be back on live again soon. So y'all have a really good night. It's been a lot of fun. Peace.